Artist block. One of the hardest things is when you get artist block. You pour your heart onto so many pieces, and a lot of my pieces were created during some of my darkest times, and so it's easy when you're going through some emotions to pour it out in the artwork. And sometimes when you find yourself a little bit more content, a little bit more peaceful at the moment, sometimes you can get an artist block. And I think that's happened to me a few times where I'm just like stuck. And it's like, I want to be able to create something in this mood that can have the impact that sometimes the pieces that I'm a little more emotional on have.
Some of the common challenges that I face in my field and that I see other people facing in their field is them not knowing what to do, not knowing what the next step is. And in the reality of it is that most of us really don't know what the next step is. All we do know is that we work hard, we try to stay good people, and then doors keep opening up. Eventually you find somebody who meets somebody else, who knows somebody else, and they have the information that you're looking for. So that's usually been one of the biggest challenges as an artist, is figuring out and navigating the maze, and then also explaining that to other artists, that patience is the most important thing.
Continuing to pursue your passion even though there's like a tidal wave of doubt and rejection and fear that are constantly, chasing after you as you chase your dream. The biggest fear about being an artist, or the biggest conundrum about being an artist, is that only you know the correct path, that this is an unblazed road and you're the only one who can trailblaze it, and only you know what's right and what's wrong.
First of all, let me start by saying I'm a self-taught artist, and I've had no formal education in art at all. So the greatest challenge actually was getting inspired to do art. Another challenge is that when I first started out, as many novice artists would, you start to compare yourself to other artists, which something I had to overcome at an early age. I realized that what worked for them didn't necessarily work for me.
I think the hardest thing for me as an artist to break through was overcoming the mental game that I wasn't good enough, that I didn't look the part, that I was too short, or not the right color skin, or maybe I didn't sing a certain way. But there's a place for all of us. If I like what I do, there's a good chance that there are thousands of people who are going to like what I do, because similarly, we all have some similarities, and we're connected in a certain way. So I think just staying true to myself, doing what felt right to me, always got me over those hurdles.
So some of the bigger challenges for live musicianship where we live is probably the venues and the promoters. They want you to compromise what you do, or maybe water it down to fit into the audience.
The greatest challenge is you maintaining your own sense of integrity as an artist. In other words, you're not trying to copy somebody else's style of art all because it looks good to you.
The way that I've overcome several of those challenges and trying to figure out and navigate how to go is very simple, actually. I keep my head down and I work. I just keep getting better and better at my craft, and the answers usually open up through hard work and just focusing on what it is that I'm trying to do in that moment. I don't necessarily look 10 steps down. I'm looking at one step at a time for the goal that I'm trying to reach. And if I'm not good at something, I'll ask somebody who is good at something. If I'm not a professional at it, I'll definitely ask another professional. And usually that seems to work. If you're not the master of something, find someone who is and listen to them.
So I think the biggest challenge is trying to be able to let the rest of the world really appreciate how deep that art is. Because as an artist, I'll look at a piece and I'm really delving into the piece, and so sometimes people look at the piece and they just seem just a piece of art. It's not until they spend some time and look at it that they really start the piece will speak to them. And so I think that's getting people to appreciate the amount of work that you did to get that piece to look the way it does. I think that's the hardest challenge for artists today.